From today, police chiefs will be able to automatically sack officers who fail background checks under a new dismissal system. The reforms will also make passing background checks a legal requirement for all serving officers. You'll remember that the calls for vetting procedures grew even more urgent after Wayne Couzens managed to get a job in the Metropolitan Police despite having been reported to Kent Police for allegedly indecently exposing himself while at the wheel of a car. He went on to abduct, rape and murder Sarah Everard. Tiff Lynch, the acting national chair of the Police Federation, the association that represents police officers and still a serving police officer herself, is on the line. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
There's been a great deal of impatience from certain quarters for these changes, not least from the government and from some of the most senior police chiefs. What's your view?
Yes, well, the Police Federation are also included in that. And we're absolutely unequivocal that there is no place in policing for those officers that betray the oath that they take and undermine public trust. What we do support is a fair legal process that's based on evidence, and that evidence needs to be clear, concise, accurate, and not just based on allegation. We welcome reforms to the vetting process. We do have our concerns in relation to the timeliness and the timescales that they have been brought in.
What concerns?
The detail that sits behind the regulations, the guidance, and it's the guidance that is used for chief constables to ensure that they keep within the legal process, so that there's no ambiguity or misinterpretation of that. To date, at the moment, we have an explanatory note of what those regulations mean and how how chief constables should be using the regulations. Unfortunately, because of these regulations being brought in rapidly, that guidance is not going to be brought out, we believe, until the summer of this year. So there's still going to be a lot of ambiguity, unfortunately.
So what's your concern there? Because some would say this hasn't been rapid at all.
It's the misinterpretation of the regulations. The regulations are obviously very concise. It's how those regulations are applied for each chief constable.
What does that mean? Are you concerned that officers will be vetted and then dismissed and it will be unfair or inaccurate?
Absolutely. And this is where, within the process of the regulations, the information is received, and that could be absolutely accurate information. But what we also have to understand is, and we have evidence of officers that are going out there doing their job, a hard job that we are asked to do, proactively arresting people. And we are open to scrutiny and allegation. We have officers that are making arrests, who are having complaints made against them for making an arrest, a lawful arrest. And we have officers in wait that are due to be failing their vetting because of the number of complaints that they've got on their record.
So are you saying you don't trust the police to police? Because surely when you're talking about an organisation that should be good at assessing evidence and whether things are fair or not, and whether things are vexatious or actually a real issue, why can't you trust the police to police you?
We have to trust the process, and that is the trust in the investment for police forces and chief constables to have in that. This has been a long time coming, and unfortunately, because of the lack of investment, the lack of training, and unfortunately the shortcuts that have been made with the austerity measures and the rapid increase of police officers coming through the system, people have slipped through the net. We need to catch up with that, and the regulations need to be bolstered. We absolutely agree, but it needs to be a fair, transparent process.
So, but at the moment,
at
the moment, you don't think it will be, these changes? The way that they've come in, you don't think it will be?
We have to wait and see. The regulations are an improvement, and we will work with the Home Office and we will work with forces, but we have to see what happens with the guidance that sits behind it.
Do you think people will be safer because of these reforms, that you can now sack someone who had been, for instance, behaving like Wayne Couzens?
We have to have confidence in the system. And by having robust vetting of people that are coming into this organisation, that can only be a good thing. And that is something that is welcomed by every single police officer in this country. Nobody wants to work with officers who do not deserve to carry the warrant card. So yes, I would like to see that people will be safer, and that's the public and the officers that work alongside these officers that do not deserve to be in the job.